So back when I was homeless, I would babysit my friends' kids in exchange for somewhere to stay. So I started making ads on Craigslist offering babysitting services. So I get an email from a woman named Eileen, and she says that she has an adult son who is disabled and she needs someone to come over and sit with him while she works. She said that he was in his 30s, he was permanently disabled, he couldn't walk, talk, use the bathroom, or eat on his own. So I asked her what happened to her son, and she said when he was a teenager, he fell off a horse head first and got brain damage and was paralyzed from the neck down. She said he can't talk or communicate, but sometimes he'll moan. He won't really have to do anything but sit there and just make sure the house don't burn down, because by the time I go to work in the evening, he's already going to bed. So she calls me and asks, when can you start? I said tomorrow. She said, we'll be here at 4:30, but if I have to go into work early, I'll just leave a note on the door for you showing you what I want done. The next day I get there around 4:35 and I find a note on the door that said, hey, I had to go into work early, but Jason's inside and your money's on the table. Make yourself at home. So I cracked the door open and I could see a man sitting in a wheelchair in front of a TV with his head tilted, and when I walk in, I say, Jason, and he doesn't respond. So when I get to the kitchen table, there's an envelope with my name on it, and when I open it up, there's $200 in it. So I thought, okay, she's serious about the job. This is for real. I found a long note on the refrigerator of things I needed to do. 8 o'clock supper, 8:30 diaper change, 9 o'clock bath. So I spent the night doing everything on her list, and then I put him to bed, and then I went to sleep on the couch, and I was just glad to finally have a roof over my head. Now, Eileen had these alarms set to let you know when to go feed or change Jason, so one of these alarms went off around 2 a.m. and it woke me up. I check on Jason, and then I go to the bathroom, and when I look in the mirror, my hair is balled up and has a big matted spot where something is like dried up in it. I'm thinking, did I drool in my own hair? What the hell is that? And I have to rinse my hair out in the sink and pick the shit out. So by 12:30 the next day, Eileen has still not come home from work, and now I'm making Jason lunch. So now it's time to wash him, and while I was giving him a bath, I could tell he was physically very excited, and when I was drying him off, his hand grazed across my ass. But I'm thinking it was an accident, because when you work that close with patients, you're bound to bump into each other one way or another. Trigger warning, this part is disgusting. So after his bath, I put him in the bed, and then I went and laid on the couch and took a nap, and when I woke up, that same shit was in my hair again. I had my hair pulled back tightly, but once again, it was pulled out like this and looked like someone had jizzed in it. So I'm leaned over the sink, rinsing my hair out, and I hear stomping in the hallway, but when I look out, no one's there, and Jason's in bed asleep. So now it's after dark, Eileen still hasn't come home, and now I'm Skyping with my boyfriend when I hear Jason moaning in the bedroom, so I go to check on him, but nothing's wrong. I get back on Skype with my boyfriend, and within minutes, my boyfriend says, who's that walking behind you? Who's that man? I said, huh? Ain't no man here. Well, except for the patient, Jason, but he's paralyzed. He can't walk. So we carry on the conversation, and then my man says, who you got over there? I said, nobody's here but me and Jason. He said, you damn liar. I just saw him walk by again. He said, what's the address? I'm coming over there. I don't believe you. I said, why are you so jealous? This is why we can't build trust. But here's the address. Come on over if it'll make you feel better. So he's on the way, and I'm pissed off because he don't trust me. So I get up, put the computer down, and I go into Jason's room to check on him. Here's where shit gets weird. When I open Jason's bedroom door, I see his eyes are wide open, but when I get close to him, he closes his eyes like he's pretending to sleep. Well, he's flushed, face red, breathing heavy, and pouring sweat like he's been jogging around the house. And I'm like, why is he sweating like that if he can't move? So I roll him over, and I'm fluffing the pillows and blankets behind his body, and when I get to his feet, my finger accidentally grazes the bottom of his foot, and it twitched. Eileen told me that he was paralyzed from the waist down and could not move a muscle, so now I'm wondering, how the fuck is his feet twitching? So I lock myself in the bathroom, and then I see those lights under the door again, and when I look under the door, he's walking. And that's when it finally hits me. I've been staying with a predator who's faking a disability and gets off on strangers wiping his butt. A grown man who is pretending to be disabled, having total strangers wash him, change him, dress him, and feed him. I realize Eileen doesn't even exist. He was the one who was emailing me to begin with to lure me here, and he's been jizzing in my hair. So while I'm in the bathroom, I hear Jason moaning like he needs me, so I yell, be there in a minute, but I'm actually climbing out the bathroom window because I'm leaving. My man shows up with a weapon, and we go in the house, and he takes one look at Jason and says, that's him. That's the man I saw behind you. So my man starts yelling at Jason, get up, boy, get up. Come on, you ain't fooling nobody. You want to play games with my old lady? I'm gonna f you up. Well, then my man fires a shot beside Jason on the bed, and that made Jason flinch, and then Jason jumps up and takes off running out of the house. My boyfriend follows behind him and fires another shot, and then I grab my boyfriend and snatch him back, and then we get in the car and leave. So as we're leaving, we stop by the mailbox to try to see who lives there, and when we open it up, it's jam-packed full of mail. It hadn't been checked in months, probably years. So we go back the next day, and a neighbor tells us the homeowner was put into hospice months ago, and that's why the power's still on. And squatters had been breaking into the house and staying there. The one thing we couldn't figure out was who called me that first day pretending to be Eileen, because the person I talked to sounded just like a woman, but it could have been this guy. I don't know. So I go to try to file a police report, and they won't even let me talk to a detective. They said it sounded like a scam, and they didn't handle those types of cases. Then my boyfriend gets mad and cusses me out for being homeless, saying I need to get my shit together. I said, I'm doing everything I can do. I don't have people paying my bills like you do. I said, you 30-something years old, still living with your grandparents, mooching off of them, got them paying all your bills, and you trying to tell me I need to get on my feet? cute. When I was homeless, I went through hell. I was put in some very scary situations just to have food and a roof over my head. At one point, I was sleeping in my friend's pump house, taking baths at the lake, selling aluminum cans for money. I didn't want to, but I had to. When you don't have an income, a home, or support, you do what you gotta do to survive, and that's what I was doing.
Girl, that story took a turn. Girl, wasn't we just talking about how guys are creepy and crazy? Creepy and crazy, bruh. What the freak? So much happened in that story. Oh, when I first realized what that stuff was in her freaking hair, well, she was like, I thought it was my slime. I was like, your slime looking like that, boo? You sleeping hard as hell. You sleeping looking like that, girl. Dang. Because when I wake up, it's still wet. You talk about it got all magic, girl. What's going on? Ah! Kill the visual. I just thought about what it was in real life. Ah! No. That was such an elaborate. That was so. He put so much thought up into this plan, bruh, to get this sexual satisfaction, bruh. You see what I be saying? I'm just speechless, and that takes a freaking lot for me to be speechless at this time of night. Almost about to be morning, almost time to eat. Do I want to eat after hearing that story? Because what? I couldn't even imagine. My thing is, your man is saying somebody walking behind you and you don't check. And you, like, I hear that you heard, oh, well, he's paralyzed. He couldn't be behind me. So who behind you, girl? Who behind you, girl? Girl, no. That's so messed up. And who that lady is? Because that lady deserved the ass whooping too, honey. Like, what are you talking about? You was in on this plan. How much she pay you? Like, oh, that's so disgusting. Girl, just to think that person, whoever owned that house, was in hospice and this is going on in their house, bro. That was going on in their house. People are just so messed up and disgusting, guys. I'm not a guy hater. It just seems like these guys are just, what is going on? What's going on in the head? Like, I understand y'all lonely, but that lonely? Like, bro, that is so wild. And I'm pretty sure that she would have. Yeah, well, I don't know. I can't speak on her because I don't know how, like, she needed that money. I don't know if she needed that money or not. I'm pretty sure if he put that ad on Craigslist, it would have attracted the right person. If he would have just been honest, he could have got, like, everyone could have agreed with this. Everyone would have known what they were walking into, knew what was going on, and it would have been a happy ending. It didn't have to be extra and you tricking somebody. That's really messed up. It's time to eat, y'all. I'm about to eat some pecans because my pistachios are in the kitchen and we got 2 more videos. Let's go.
So when my mom told me this story, it gave me goosebumps. So my mom is a hospice nurse, and one night a few years ago she was on call, and she gets a call from one of the hospitals in town that says, hey, we got a patient, they just got the bad news from the doctor, and they want to be on hospice. My mom, do your job, okay, let them know I'll be there shortly, probably take me about 10 minutes. So at the hospital was this woman, we'll call her Jane. She had just gotten told by the doctor, the bad news that she had terminal cancer and she didn't have a whole lot longer to live. So while her family was there, they elected to go on hospice for the remaining time that she had left. So after they had made the decision as a family, her kids, everybody, they left. So Jane was kind of sitting there taking it all in while she was waiting for the hospice nurse. In this moment, a woman walks in her room and Jane's kind of looking up like, who the hell are you? And this woman introduces herself and says, hi, my name's Betty. I'm your neighbor. I've been your neighbor for the last couple days here in the hospital. I'm just in the room down the hall. And I heard the bad news. So I just wanted to come in and say, is there anything I can do for you to let you know that it's going to be okay? And Jane was like, what do you mean you heard how did you hear the bad news? And she was kind of taken aback by this. And she's talking to me and she goes, no, I'm okay. I think I just need some time. The hospice nurse is coming. I'm going to just take some time to myself. So this woman comes through and goes, okay, okay, sweetie, we're in the Midwest. Okay, sweetie, if you need anything, let me know. And so instead of turning around and leaving the room, Betty turns and walks into the bathroom of Jane's room and shuts the door. And Jane was just kind of shocked, like, what is happening here? And literally, probably 60 seconds after that happened, my mom got there. She came and she knocked on the door. Hi, I'm the hospice nurse. Do you have a minute to talk? And Jane was kind of like, yeah, I guess. So my mom, she's been a nurse for a really long time. And so she sees like this hesitation on Jane's face, and she can hear it in her voice. And she's like, is there something on your mind? Do you want to say something? And Jane was kind of like, so my neighbor, Betty, just came in and, was really sweet, really a nice lady, but she just went into the bathroom and she's still in there. My mom was like, oh, okay. How long has she been in there? And Jane was like a minute or so, but I can't, I don't hear anything. I don't hear, what's going on. So my mom is trying to be very polite. Obviously, this is a situation where Betty doesn't need to be there. And, my mom's been in healthcare for a long time. She thought maybe Betty might have a little dementia or something. So she walks over to the bathroom door and she knocks, and there's no answer. And she knocks again and she says, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm with hospice. I'm going to open the door. So then she goes to open the door and there's nobody in there. So then, my mom says to Jane, gosh, there's nobody in here. And Jane's like, kind of wigged out. Obviously, she's like, I had a conversation with her. Like, I'm not sleeping. I'm not groggy. She was in there. And so, my mom was like, okay, well, let's, he just had a traumatic, thing happen. It's a lot going on. Let's kind of get going. We'll talk through this, and maybe I'll go check on Betty, and maybe she slipped out at some point when you didn't see her. So they finished the paperwork, because of course it's healthcare, there's paperwork for everything. So they finished the paperwork. My mom says, they finished chatting, and my mom says, okay, well, I'll go check on Betty and we'll be at them. And Jane's like, okay, thank you for coming. So my mom leaves and walks over to the room that Betty said she was from, and she looks in and there's nobody in there. So then she walks down to the nurse's station to report off, I guess, what she had done, and kind of keep in communication with the nurses. And as she's reporting to the nurses, she tells them, hey, Jane said Betty kind of came in her room right before I got there, and I can't find her in her room now. So I just want to make sure that, if she has dementia or something, she's not lost somewhere. So if somebody could just make sure she's okay. And I'll never forget my mom's face when she told me this part. She said the nurse looks at her and goes, what? So my mom goes, Betty, I just want to make sure she's okay. She was in, and recants the story. And the nurse looks at her and goes, Betty died this morning, like 12 hours ago. Betty's not there. Betty was not in her room. And of course, my mom was shooketh by this. My mom is not a storyteller. She's not she's a spiritual person, but, she's not big into the paranormal. So this really took her back. She was pretty freaked out by this, but yeah, when she told me the story, like I said, I know her. She doesn't make up stories. She doesn't make this stuff up. So when she was telling me this, like, I got goosebumps. I'm like, that is creepy.
As you probably could tell, I've seen this video before, but I don't remember her telling it. And this is like the second time, if it's not deja vu, because you remember the last scary stories. I was just like, oh, I heard this story before. Was that lint on me? I guess it was. So yeah. Maybe she wrote it into somebody and they read it out. And then she was like, well, let me tell the story. I like her telling it better, because even though I knew what was happening, it was still like, oh, snap, But I shouldn't have ate those pecans. I ate it 48 hours. I took the first bite. My stomach's like, no, what are you doing? Why are you feeding me this? My grandma was like, yeah, them pecans give you the runs. And I was just like, I just forgot. I literally just forgot. I ate like 5. Did I just eat 5? Girl, I'm still looking at the bag. Let me close it up. Y'all know I don't do name brand. No name brand. And I'm not promoting them right now. Do I have stock at Sam's? I got stock in Walmart. So yeah, shop at Sam's Club. Honey, that was like, it's touching, but it's also like, did Jane see her because she was about to go to, or did she see her because she was the neighbor and was just like, I just want to make sure you good, you're good, okay, you're good, like just being nice on her way out, because that was just her person, her character, like, was just to be nurturing and everything and make sure everybody's okay. Like, she needed to do that before she left. She was just like, oh, you're new here, let me make sure you're okay, because I made sure everybody else was okay. But when she first said that she was in hospice and Betty came over. I was just like, in hospice? She came over just all nice and, you know, preppy and, you know, like, hey, what can I do for you? And she was a resident girl. That's why I was just like, no, Betty ain't here. Betty on the other side about to go. Well, she already gone and she about to walk up the ascend, honey. Like, what? That's crazy. 'Cause I was just thinking about the people. Well, no, because was that hospice? So from my knowledge of hospice, being that a lot of people in my family are ministers and preachers and, you know, reverends and stuff, I spent a lot of my time at hospice, at hospitals, at people's houses, like, you know, visiting the family and all that stuff, because that's what people in my family have to do. You know, well, it's not like they have to do, they actually want to do that. They want to be there for the family and people, you know, visiting stuff. From my recollection, hospice is the place you go before you go. Like, you have nurses there when your family can't take care of you no more, you know, or maybe it's just like they know you about to leave and you need extra help, you know. That's where you go. But maybe I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But no, that was wild, friend. That whole experience. Your mom experienced that, and it was probably like a Twilight Zone moment for her. And then the nurse was just like, no. It couldn't have been Betty. Betty just passed away. Like, she done went on to glory, honey. No. Yo, that's wild. Just that realization, bro. No.
Gladly. I don't know where to start, though, because weird shit has been happening to me my entire life, and it's not just me, it's a lot of people on my mom's side, too. First of all, on my mom's side, we have this condition called Marfan syndrome. If you want to know more about that, I have a whole playlist. That's besides the point. Anyway, my great-grandma had it as well, and it affected her heart. So she was getting open heart surgery, and on the table, she had an aortic aneurysm and died. She was resuscitated and brought back to life, and ever since then, she claims that really weird things started happening to her. She has since passed away, and I don't have a lot of her stories to tell you, but I will say her daughter, so my grandma, lived in a house that was incredibly haunted and everyone knew. And then my mom has always told me weird stories from her childhood as well. So I don't know if it's something I inherited. Maybe we're like a line of witches. That would be super cool. But weird shit happens in my mom's side of the family and to me. I guess I'll just start out by telling you like my earliest weird occurrences. These are a long time ago, and I have more recent, more in-depth stories to tell, but I feel like I should just backtrack, you know? First of all, my Nana on my dad's side said that when I was a baby, I'd be laying in my crib and would just be talking to the ceiling. Talking and laughing and interacting with the ceiling as if it were a person. There was never anything there. It was just a ceiling, but she always thought that was super weird. First thing that I actually remember, though, is staying the night at my Meemaw's house, my mom's mom with the haunted house. I was staying the night there. I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and I was sleeping on her couch. If this is the couch, these were the stairs to go upstairs, so I'm sitting there facing these stairs. And I was really afraid of the upstairs because that's where everyone claimed was haunted. My aunts and my uncles all swore that they've seen a man with a briefcase walking around upstairs and that he had kids because they would hear the sound of kids running back and forth. They also had this really old organ in the hallway upstairs, and you would hear them playing the organ occasionally. Super creepy. So I was already kind of scared of the upstairs, so I asked my grandma, my Meemaw, to put up a blanket or something so that I didn't have to look at it. So she did. She put like nails or thumbtacks or something in the wall and put the blanket up over so that I didn't have to look up the stairs all night. Looking back, this was probably sleep paralysis. I remember at some point in the night the blanket had fallen and I could see up the stairs again and I was frozen. I remember seeing this dark, shadowy figure with long arms, long legs, very slowly walking down the stairs and to the couch that I was laying on. It hovers over me until it's right in front of my face, and then I wake up. I'm pretty sure I peed my pants. I was so scared, and I ran into my Meemaw's room and I slept with her the rest of the night. And once or twice since then, I've had the same dream. Different places though. I remember once I was at my Nana's house, my other grandma, sleeping in my bed, woke up in my dream and I was frozen, couldn't move, couldn't scream, and I saw the same shadowy figure standing at my doorway. It slowly comes forward towards me, and I wake up when it's right above my face. Ugh, makes my skin crawl. This didn't happen to me, but it's about me and it's very related, so I figured I would share. I have a younger sister. She's about 8 years younger than me, and she told me one time that she had a really bad dream about me, and it was not what I was expecting. She said that she was stuck in her bed. She couldn't move, she couldn't scream, and it was me standing at the foot of her bed. Oh my god, this freaks me out so bad. I don't know why this freaks me out more than the things that have actually happened to me, but this freaks me out so bad. It's me standing at the foot of her bed, just staring blank faced at her, and I fall forward, and she wakes up when I'm right in front of her fucking face. Why is she experiencing the same nightmares that I'm having, except for instead of a dark, shadowy, scary monster, it's me? I remember that really hurt my feelings, actually, when I had that dream. I was like, wow, I'm your sleep paralysis demon. That's great. But that's the truth. She must be scared of me. That's all I have time for right now, but I will come back if you want to hear even more of my stories, the ones that are more recent, and I have more details for. These are just the really young, early things that happened to me.
Yo, that's wow. Girl, ain't no way I'll be laying on that couch. That's funny. Like, I don't mean no harm, Grandma, but I'm laying in the bed with you, honey. I'm just thinking back to all the times I spent the night with my grandparents and my great-grandparents. I always slept with my grandma or my great-grandma. My great-grandma didn't sleep. She would just lay down to make me feel better. Like, okay, I'm gonna lay down. Like, I'm telling you to go to bed and the sun's still out. I'm gonna lay down with you to make you feel better. But she'll lay down until I fall asleep, and she'll be up for the rest of the night. Like, she'll take a cat nap, be up, cleaning, cooking, like, you know. So yeah, friend, no, I wouldn't have been laying on that couch right there with them stairs and where everybody talking about they just seen somebody. Nope. I would not. I would be in there with my grandma, because that's wild, friend. And I was watching something the other day. It was probably on iTrack, who was talking about a scientist was talking about sleep paralysis, how it is literally just you stuck in your dream, and like you're waking up from your dream, but that dream is still occurring. It's like you're waking up in your dream and your brain is trying to process it. Like, hey, you need to wake up. We gotta get out this phase. But your dream, whatever you're dreaming, that whatever, you know, what people be seeing in their sleep paralysis is part of a dream. They were having a nightmare or something. Now, the way he explained it made a lot of sense. It was just like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense, because I don't see that and I ain't trying to see that, honey. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But that's really messed up. Like she said, her sister was seeing her, and it hits harder because that's your little sister. That's why it hits harder. It's your little sister. Yo, y'all see at the beginning of the video, the dog looked like he was watching TV, then he heard something. And then he was just like, all right, I'm okay. I'm going to get closer to you, dog. I'm going to lay down. Y'all saw that, right? I saw that. And I was just like, okay. Right now, she's staring at me. I'm going to close. But yeah, y'all, I don't know if you've ever experienced it. Well, some of y'all have said y'all experienced that. So I'm so sorry you had to experience that. That sounds terrifying, especially when you're sleeping. At least she woke up, you know what I'm saying? But some of y'all tell me that, especially Noah be like, she be fighting. Y'all need to be fighting like her. Like, fight. Don't be scared. That's a lot. That's easy for me to say. On this side, it's easy for me to say. But we know our tricks. We need to lay on our side. We need to lay on the edge if you have to of your bed. You know not to have your neck laying like this, cutting off your air. We know to did I say sleep in a cool room? Sleep in a cool room. Don't be having weighted blankets on you. Some of y'all can do that. I can't do that. We know our tricks. Don't be extra tired like me, staying up for 24 hours straight. Girl, I'm about to take cat naps. I'm not doing a deep sleep. No, cat naps, honey. So yeah, friend, y'all be safe out there. Stay prayed up, honey. Stay prayed up. And like this video, follow all the creators, and subscribe